So every trader or investor that starts is going to make mistakes. It's just natural. We're dealing with shark-infested waters, meaning that there's algorithms, there's institutions, there's really good traders in there. And so you have to get to that point of being able to compete and ultimately beat them. And it takes a lot of mistakes. And the goal is that through these educational courses, I've revealed my mistakes and then how I've learned, and basically all the tidbits of knowledge from discipline to emotional control to human psychology to charting, that basically puts us in a position to skip and bypass a lot of the mistakes most people will make and get to profitability as quickly as possible. I've gone long when I meant to go short. I've gone short when I've meant to go long. Yeah. Some of my worst mistakes are, I think in my early years, I had gone long U.S. steel going into earnings, and after the bell, it shot up massively. Well, I was like, all right, you know how fast you have to react. I'm like trying to punch in the buttons to sell and take I think I was up like 20K at this point. It was like some ridiculous stupid bet I made back then. But instead, so I sold it, right? And then I'm looking and I'm like, that's weird. It's not vanishing out of my account. Well, I had, instead of 10,000 shares, I had doubled it up to 20,000 shares. And then I was even more furious to try to enter the sell order because I was freaking out if it came down, how fast I would end up losing a lot of money. Because on earnings, this is the tricky thing, is when you're playing earnings, it can go up real fast, but it can go down real fast too. So, I mean, it's all about just doing your best and learning and learning from your mistakes, right? You have to really just reset. Yeah. Because it's not about, in a bull market, and we've seen so many bull markets in stocks and in crypto, it's about thinking that, oh, this is the easiest thing in the world. Look at my account just go up exponentially. And it's not like that. And if you're going to be a trader that makes money in bull and bear markets and not losing all your money when the bull market's over, you have to learn how to read charts. People think I'm crazy when I say this, but the charts are literally the purest truth that we will ever find. Because if you listen to someone saying something, there could be a bias there. If you go to Twitter, there's a bias. Even if you go to news, right, there's a bias. But the charts don't lie. It's telling you what is there. I always say that a chart is like a book in a foreign language, right? So let's say it's, Chinese for me. I don't know how to read Chinese. But when you learn how to read the charts, all of a sudden you can start reading it, and the charts will tell you what to do, or at least what the most high probable outcome will be. And that's everything, right? But the problem with fundamental analysis is that it makes sense in certain markets, and then in other markets, it doesn't. And the reason it doesn't is because markets are ruled by two things, greed and fear, right? We saw greed on the way up and then fear and panic on the way down. And so you look at the PE of a stock, right? And you say, oh, well, in this market, it's a 40 PE. Well, guess what? Now we're in a bear market and it's now a 20 PE. So how did that make sense, right? So, but the charts will tell you, when you look at a chart and it's gone vertical, and it's gone up 100% or 200%, there's something missing there. There's a certain type of market environment that's causing that, and you never want to be someone that's buying up at those levels. So the technicals will tell you that. The greatest example recently was Exxon, right? Oil was up above $120. Exxon was nearing all-time highs, and everyone was bullish. The media was saying $150, $200 a barrel, and I'm looking at the Exxon chart, and it's gone vertical. So it's extended, the metrics, the RSI, all that stuff is extended. And then it's at a double top from 2014. And if you're a technician, you're like, wait a minute, that's a short. Double tops, you short. And so I shorted it. And then obviously we've seen, oil come all the way back down. These algos are trading on very, very micro time frames. And in fact, a lot of times the algos are wrong, right? They'll react based on one news headline. And they'll all of a sudden sell the market. And then all of a sudden you see the market roar back, right? And these algos are on the wrong side. So it's absolutely, technical analysis works because it's trading humans and human emotion, and not trading humans, right? We understand we're trading human emotion, but the bottom line is, yes, it still works. And in my opinion, it's always going to work because humans don't change. So if you go back to ancient Egypt, you could trade the same way if you could chart out anything. And I often say, if you could chart rocks, right, or whatever, it doesn't matter. If you could just make a market in anything, the charts are going to be the same thing. Double tops will be double tops, double bottoms, gap fills, reversal candles, all that stuff, because you're just trading people. Probably there's no perfect time, right? I think If you're 70 years old and you're retired, that's the perfect time. If you're 20 and you're just like thinking about how I'm going to invest the beginning of my 401k, I think that's the perfect time. But the key is do it with a game plan, right? It's doing it with more than just, hey, I saw Kramer say this, or, oh, I saw people on Twitter pumping this, so I'm going to jump on the long side. Like, this is what always drives me nuts, is people put their hard-earned money that they literally worked so hard to make, and sometimes they just throw it in something, and they're like, oh, well, why did I lose? Well, you're just following random people that you don't know if they're even good at what they do. So you have to really say to yourself, I'm going to become advanced and know what I'm doing, and then it will work out. And we discussed this before about, you have a brain surgeon that, you can't just be like, oh, I watched this video on brain surgery. Can I operate on your brain now, right? I mean, they go to years and years of school, rack up tons and tons of debt, and then they still have a grueling job of high intensity stress versus a trader where if you put in less money to learn and you actually get a good education, you can make more money with more freedom, and you could travel the world and still trade. And I've always said, like, you could be 95 years old and laying on your deathbed, right? And if your finger works for a mouse, you could be like, oh, I need $1,000 today. Click, click. Okay, I made $1,000. It's like the greatest freedom in the whole world to learn how to invest and trade. And you'll never be in a position where you don't feel financially secure when you learn how to trade, because you can always go to the markets, and the markets are it's almost like having a Federal Reserve printing press, frankly.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information, and it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Markus Dahn, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address, because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Markus Dahn.